In this episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, I sit down with Jeremiah Isley from Theology of Games to talk all about all of their podcasts and everything that is Theology of Games. We also dive into some other great things about what we'll be doing here on Getting Geeky with Game Relief in the very near future. So definitely go back and listen to that episode over there at Board Games Daily. That was just released yesterday, in fact. So, Monday the 28th of January. And then go ahead and listen to this episode. We'll wait for you. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by LunaTix, Star Trackers, Solar System, and Lunar Lander. It's an educational and strategic board game that combines real astronomy and historical space navigation. It contains a real star map. A while back ago I had Vincent on the show to talk all about it, and you can go ahead and catch that interview in the update entitled Game Relief Interview that they released on the 22nd of January. So definitely go listen to that and find out a little bit more about LunaTix Star Trackers. That will be on Kickstarter through Monday, the 18th of February. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is also proudly being powered by Born to Serve, a superpowered game of table service by Getting Games. It's a tabletop game for 2 to 5 jobless superheroes competing for the last job in town at the local restaurant. They reached their funding goal a while back ago, and there's still little time to jump in on the fun of this. Want to find out more about it? Well, you can do that as well by jumping over and checking out the update they released on the 13th of January entitled 85% and New Media about Born to Serve, in which I sat down with Diane to talk all about their new game. So definitely go check out Born to Serve, a superpowered game of table service. Then if you like what you see, just like with any of the games we mentioned here on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, back them and show a little bit of support to them as well as us by backing through the links on our show notes. This game, Born to Serve, will be on Kickstarter for about 67 more hours at the time of this recording, lasting through Thursday, the 31st of January. So don't dilly-dally as the time is upon us for the campaign to be over. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is also proudly being powered by Dark Naga, the Haunting of Hastur, Hardback 5e, and OSR, coming to you from Dark Naga Adventures. It's a hardback color omnibus edition of the Haunting of Hastur modules, Dark Naga 1, 2, 3, and 4, as well as 5, with VTT maps and extras. They're so close to their goal. They're about $400 away from their goal, and there's still 19 days to go to get in on the fun of this game, or games as it's adventures, 5 of them in fact, all in hardback. And if you want, you can go back and listen to our episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief when we sat down with Kevin. I believe it was last week. But you can definitely go check it out in our podcast directory over there at GameReliefGo.com. All of our podcasts are conveniently listed there for your ease and fun.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
I know, you were probably expecting myself to go ahead and jump straight into that interview. Well, you've got a couple of games on the Kickstarter Corner to hear all about, and then we'll jump into my sit down with Jeremiah. So hang on. And check out any of these games if you like what you hear.
What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leaves computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leaves.
Since the fights in the arena were underfoot, the gods had taken a vow not to interfere with mortals directly, but only through champions. This was her chance. She and the Thunder Dragon would enter the contest not as representatives of some primordial being attempting to become a god, but representing their own selves. They would defeat the champions, emerge victorious, and take their place at the table of creation. But they wouldn't sit at the table, nay, they would crush it, slaughter every last one of those gods, and leave the mortals of this world to live their lives free, as they desired. Armed with the Godslayer, filled with righteous fury, and with the Thunder Dragon at her side, she would be nothing less than unstoppable. Who is she? How did we end up here? We invite you to join us and discover her story. Follow Theosis on their Facebook page, especially as it nears February 12th, where the mini expansion Theosis Godslayer will be released, and you'll have a second chance to grab Theosis if you missed it last time. Don't miss it this time. You don't want to be in the dark. And if you want to hear my interview with some of the creators and stuff of Theosis, you definitely want to subscribe to my newsletter over at GamerLeafGo.com so you can get access to that early before your friends and possibly some extra content. If your mailbox is too full, make sure you subscribe to Getting Geeky with GamerLeaf so you never miss an episode, as we're going to have them on and talk Theosis coming this next week. So stay tuned for that. And check out Theosis, the board game expansion launching the 12th of February. Is not going to be one you want to dilly-dally on, as it's only going to be on Kickstarter for 7 days. The 12th of February through the 19th of February. Next, we've got Head Chef, the tabletop card game of food, fame, and fun. In this tabletop card game, for 1 to 4 hungry players, you will cook food, earn fame, and become the head chef. And if you check out this campaign, that could qualify you to enter a new giveaway from the Giveaway Geek. But you're going to have to wait until the end of the episode to find out what game is being given away. I'll just say this, it's on BGG's hotness list. Next, we've got a new role-playing game. Are you subscribed to my emails? Well, you probably didn't miss this one then, but just in case you're not subscribed yet, definitely going to want to hear about Lex Draconis, Be the Dragon. What would you sacrifice for power? Be the dragon and roar in this tabletop RPG core book for the modern RPG universe. That's right, a role-playing game in which you're not the person, you're not the people, but you're the dragon. You're definitely going to want to check this out, as it'll be on Kickstarter for 13 more days at the time of this recording, going through Monday, the 11th of February. I know I'm excited about it, because being a dragon is no longer just a dream. Now you can do it in role-playing games, so you don't have to wait till you fall asleep. Definitely check out Lex Draconis, Be the Dragon, on Kickstarter through the 11th of February. There's not enough games out there in which you can be the dragon, is there? Well, maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. But Overlords of Infamy is actually launching a new expansion. It's called Misery Loves Company. The full title of their campaign name is Overlords of Infamy, Misery Loves Company. That's right. I just watched a Kickstarter video, and so before it was 5 evil overlords fighting against one hero. But you know what this expansion adds? It adds a dragon that is squaring off to overthrow both the Overlords of Infamy as well as the hero, and so you can be the dragon or the Overlords of Infamy or the hero, making this game now 6 players. If you missed Overlords of Infamy, you got a chance to go ahead and get the game as well. But you'll definitely want to check this one out. You know what? It's launching this morning at 07:30 Pacific time. So definitely go ahead and click that link in the top left hand corner that says notify me on launch, so not to miss this game coming to you from Obscure Reference Games. And it'll be on Kickstarter through the end of February, so definitely check out Overlords of Infamy, Misery Loves Company. Next, this one I believe is launching today as well. It's Calcamo, 4 daring jungle dice games in a tin. Wait, you said you heard about it? Or you didn't? Well, either way, definitely go ahead and listen to my last episode. We'll wait for you. Oh, good. What did you think? Yep, Calcamo is a fun game from what it sounds like. They're going for a very small goal, and it's a very small game. Plus, you get a tin. I know back in my days of Uno, I loved collecting the games in tin, and this is the second in the series from Tony, so you'll definitely want to go ahead and check this out. It's a game in which you find out who will be the next Maya ruler. The second Daring Dice games with a special Make 100 pledge level. It includes solo play, so if you want to find out more about it, definitely go back and listen to my last episode, and you can find out all about it. I believe Logan Chops Reviews might be doing a quickie preview of this game, and it just sounds like a fun game. So if you're listening before they launch, make sure you click that link in the show notes and then click the top left hand corner of the campaign page that says notify me upon launch, so you can find out all about Calcamo, 4 daring jungle dice games in a tin, which will be on Kickstarter for about 30 days. Now, I know this is not on Kickstarter, but you're going to want to hang on till the end of this episode after my interview with Jeremiah, as we're going to be discussing a giveaway in which, by checking out a couple of games that are on or will be on Kickstarter, as well as one of my favorite podcasts, you could win a game that is on BGG's list of the hotness. So definitely stay tuned until after this interview. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side of the interview. Game Relief, kind of out.
Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Welcome to Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf. Usually we'll bring you game designers and whatnot. I know sometimes we bring you other content creators. So today it's your treat to have another content creator that seems like he's competing with us to get more podcasts out there. I don't know if that's the purpose or not, but we have Jeremiah Isley, who is I want to say he's the founder and the head over there at Theology Games. Is that correct, Jeremiah? Is that how you fall in line with Theology of Games?
I would say co-founder and co-head. My buddy Scott Firestone, who is definitely more active on the written side. He also does Board Games Daily with us. He and I started the site nearly 7 years ago. So yeah.
Oh wow, 7 years ago. So yeah, so he's probably definitely got more content than me, especially with the whole Board Games Daily. But before we jump into everything that Theology of Games is, let's rewind a little bit if we could, Jeremiah. How did you get into the world of playing tabletop board games?
So it's a long and sordid tale that goes back. No, it does go back a ways. I'm in my early 40s, and as far back as I can remember, my family always loved to play games. We were always playing board games or cards or some sort of game on holidays and family gatherings. But what I really kind of discovered that there was more than Monopoly or euchre or hearts or whatever, was when the whole collectible card game craze hit, right? Like Magic the Gathering hit there. And actually, I was never a Magic player, but there were games like Marvel Overpower and Middle Earth, which was all based on the Hobbits and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And uh we started getting into those, my brother and I and some of our buddies. So we started playing those, and for the most part, up until, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, most of the gaming that I did was collectible based, right? Like collectible card games, hero clicks, uh, the Pirates of the Spanish Main, things that you had to kind of go out and chase cards and special collectible things, which is fun, and there's some really great games there. But it was probably about, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago where I discovered, games like Catan and Carcassonne and things like that. And I was like, whoa, there's good games out there that don't require me buying a package of something and randomly getting things. And so it kind of all went, I guess, downhill or uphill from there, as I started to get into the gaming that we know and love today, in tabletop and Euro based games and things like that.
For sure. And are you collecting expansions now, Jeremiah?
I try to. I really enjoy a lot of the living card games, which we've been discussing. Like, are those dying out in place of mini games? But I really enjoy, like, the Lord of the Rings living card game is one of my favorite games, and so like all those chapter packs and all the deluxe expansions and things like that. I've tried to get as many of those as I can, uh, without breaking the bank, which is a little difficult.
Yeah, most definitely. So I imagine it's hard to pick, but what's your current favorite game?
Actually, I would say my current favorite game is The Resistance, and it has been for a while. I really, really love social deduction games where you're sitting at a table with your friends and your family and whoever's there, and you're trying to figure them out more than you're trying to kind of like have a good strategy for playing a game. So I really like The Resistance, but it's like a razor thin margin up there with games like Orleans and Carcassonne has just been a classic staple for so long. So, but I would say if you asked me, put a gun to my head and said, "What's your favorite game?" It'd be The Resistance or Avalon.
Oh, well, no guns on the show today, so.
All right, well, good.
But that's awesome. Yeah, I've played a couple of social deduction game. Didn't start them until I started going to my local game group that somebody in my church congregation started about a year ago. But I kind of like them, but we don't necessarily play them as a family. I only played a couple. I think we did a couple of different werewolves, as well as one that the game group creator, he actually created. I think it's called Off Your Rocker. I believe he was the one that created that game.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I know that name. I don't know that I've played it, but I love like all the One Night Ultimate Werewolves. All the iterations of that they've come out with are really, really good. Secret Hitler is a really good social deduction game. My buddy Ben Canelos designed Red Scare, which is a fun social deduction game that you have to use like the red glasses, and it like decodes the cards for you and stuff. It's really cool stuff. There's some really, really fun social deduction games out there nowadays.
Ben Canelis, he's not the one that Alan Girdings lovingly calls Sir Winnie, is he?
That one and the same.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've never played that or Alan's game, but I hear him on the Tuesday Night Gaming podcast talking all the time about him.
Yeah. And I would be remiss in mentioning Two Rooms and a Boom, which is outstanding. I love that game so much.
Yeah, I haven't played that one yet either. I hope to one day. And somewhere around here, I actually have, it's not Lemonade, but it kind of got lost in the mess that is my office.
Another fun game of questionable theme, I guess, but it's really fun.
For sure. So with creating all the content that you do and everything, and your full-time job and stuff, how do you find time to play games, Jeremiah?
I shake the cushion out of the couch. I look under the cushions. I I find spare minutes here and there, kind of laying around. No, I have a few really good friends who who were really good friends of mine before they started gaming, and then they like realized what gaming was, and we play games together. So it's a hobby that I love, and in order to kind of keep up with it and play games, there are times that I make sacrifices. Usually that sacrifice is like sleep. So game night will be a late, put the kids to bed, and then start gaming at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and play late on a weeknight. So that's usually how I go about it. My wife does enjoy playing games. And we have a set of friends that also enjoy to play. They're maybe a little more casual. Some of them, it's kind of a mixed group, but we will from time to time have a big game night where their kids come over, and all of the kids play, video games, or a separate table for tabletop stuff. And we've spent some time playing there too. But it is tough. I will say that, but it's something that I find worth the effort, just because of the reward socially, and family time and things like that really are important.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And so that's probably why I can find you on social media sometimes at 2 or 3 o'clock at night your time, huh?
Yeah. I've just given up on the idea of a good night's sleep for a while.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a while. I think still my 5-year-old daughter still sometimes comes into our room late at night. But yeah, so I can hear you there. Is there certain games that you play with your wife, and other games that you play with your gaming group, or do you guys all play the same games?
No, my wife she enjoys gaming. She enjoys sitting down and playing a game with friends or myself. But she is not into super deep games. She really despises learning new games, I guess. So we just started over Christmas. She actually got me a 10 by 5 board. So like people are doing those 10 by 10 or 10 by 5 challenges. And so the games that her and I are going to play together are things like Carcassonne and Ticket to Ride, Kingdom Builder, uh, Valeria Card Kingdoms, things that are uh, varied enough so that when you play them, it's not like you're just playing the same game over and over again, but you are playing the same game. So that's kind of her speed. Is she's a step up from the casual gamer, but she's not into like the super heavy games. Whereas my gamer group, we'll sit down and play a 3-hour game and think nothing of it. And like we played Archmage recently, or I'm trying to think what we played the other night that I took to game night. Oh, we played a big game of Thunderstone Quest. And so we'll dive into some games that are a little deeper. And then I've got friends that are casual gamers, so we'll lean that way too. I have a pretty diverse collection of games, so I can pretty much game with anybody that's willing.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, my wife, it's the other way around. She prefers the big heavy games in my game group. They're the ones with the casual gamers.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the completely the other way around. And then I'm kind of with my wife's health, I have to get into learning how to play the game. So I'm kind of the anxiety driven or whatnot, trying to learn them. I've had Crystal Clan sitting on my table for the last week as I'm trying to figure it out or whatnot. So the Dized app, I don't know if you've heard of that, but that is an awesome app. I was able to take King Domino out of the box with my kids out of the shrink wrap and play the whole game with the app guiding me. So I can't wait till they get more games on there.
Yeah, they actually, I didn't have a copy of Blood Rage, and so the guys there sent us a copy of Blood Rage and gave us the app, and we did the same thing. We just pulled it out and it stepped us right through. It's a great app. Really looking forward. I'm glad that their Kickstarter was successful, because it is. I love games and I love learning games, but it's definitely the hardest part of gaming, right? Like sitting down and reading a rule book, and then you have to teach it to everybody, and there's always that one person that's not paying attention or playing with their phone. So yeah, the app stepping you through all of that, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll be able to get in on that. Oh yeah, you had a quote on their Kickstarter page, if I recall, didn't you?
I think it was me, or it might have been Scott, because we both reviewed the app. So yeah, it was one of us. It was somebody from Theology of Games.
Well, there you go. Yeah, speaking of Theology of Games, what inspired that, and what is Theology of Games, Jeremiah?
So I blame my wife for Theology of Games. Little quick history lesson. My buddy Scott Firestone and we met because I was a youth pastor for a while back in the day, and he worked at a publisher that published resources, study guides and books and things like that for youth ministry. And we met at a convention that his company was putting on at the time, and we kind of connected online, and he's like, "Oh, I play board games." I was like, "Oh, I love board games too." And so he and I connected, and we started talking about stuff, and my wife was like, "You and Firestone should start a blog." And I threw the idea to him, and he's like, "Oh, that'd be so cool. We should do that." And a few months later, here we are. That was 2012. July 1st is when we first published our first review on theologyofgames.com. And then since then we started the Theology of Games podcast, which we kind of do just as a monthly installment. And then a few years later, I started That's How I Roll, which is a podcast I do by myself weekly. And then just a year and a half or so ago, we started Board Games Daily, which we do almost daily. I'll just put it that way.
Well, there you go. Yeah, and I really love that you put a lot of production effort, or so it would seem, into your podcast. I really love them.
Well, I appreciate that. It's so cool when people are like, "Hey, I really like the way your show sounds," or I'll get a text here and there from folks. Yeah, I have a background. Like, I went to school for audio engineering. I worked in a recording studio for a long time. I do a lot of sound design for theater and things like that. So it just makes sense to me. Like, all right, if I'm going to do a podcast, I guess this is how I'm doing it. So it is a lot of work, but it's definitely a labor of love. It doesn't pay the bills or anything, but it's something that I really enjoy. So thank you.
No problem. And yeah, that's good to do something you enjoy. And I want to say, are you an actor on the side as well?
I am sort of an actor / performer. I studied dance as starting at around age 8. So I've done a lot of performing in dance and in theater and things like that. I perform every year. I'm still doing the role of the Mouse King every year for a professional ballet company in Northeast Ohio. This last year was year 26. Yeah, 26. So yeah, I do get on the stage a little bit still, and I still work in the theater in terms of doing like sound design and stuff like that as well.
As well as you perform on your podcast. I want to say, I think it was That's How I Roll, but I loved your new rendition of the drive-by review. I think you did it for the Western game recently.
Yeah. So End of the Trail from Elf Creek Games is it's a Western. It's kind of like the gold rush of 1849. That's kind of the setting of it. And I'm notorious. I like to go back and listen to like old episodes, and I'm constantly like critiquing myself and, all right, well, that was okay, and that was not good. And I just, every time I listen to one of my reviews, I'm like, man, I am just kind of droning on trying to explain how games are played and things like that. So I was like, how do I make this more interesting? So I'm starting to do like these, I guess I call it a sketch, where it's like a 2 or 3 minute explanation of the theme of the game and a little bit of how it plays and feels. And then I just give my thoughts because I think that's probably what people want to hear more, is just kind of what I think of it and what's good about it or what's bad about it. So yeah, I kind of, I guess I was leaning on my acting skills, such as they are, to do the voice acting for that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was quite wonderful. And like you said, I think you said during the review or whatnot with the change that people are usually listening when they're driving or doing something else. So they're not going to be able to really pay attention to how to play necessarily.
Yeah, and I don't need people falling asleep at the wheel listening to me explain how to play a game, right?
For sure. Yeah, I used to always tease that people had fallen asleep listening to my podcast. So yeah, that wouldn't be a good thing. Why should somebody go ahead and check out all of the 3 different shows you have over there at Theology of Games, Jeremiah?
Oh man, that's a really good question. Well, I guess there's a couple reasons that people have asked me this in the past, and I I don't know that I still have a good answer for it. Um, uh, I think some of the things that draw people to us and to Theology of Games is, one, we're faith based. So if there's something in a game that kind of pushes back against our faith, like I just did a review of Archmage from Starling Games, which is a fantastic game. I really, really like it, but it's a game that involves magic, and some of the magic that is used in it is like the death sphere of magic and the blood sphere of magic and things like that. So we really try to, we're not here to judge them and say, oh, don't play this game because it's got this, but I'm gonna let you know about that. I'm gonna shed light on that and let you know this is a part of this game. This is what's happening in this game. So if you want to hear sort of that side of it, that's a reason to listen. We do our best to be entertaining, right? Like, we think that there's, especially the shows that where there's more people on it, there's and the actually that's how I roll, is the only one where it's just me. Theology of Games podcast and Board Games Daily feature myself, Scott Firestone, who's the other founder we talked about earlier, and then my good buddy AJ Skiff's dad. So I feel like there's really good chemistry because we're all good friends and good buddies. So it's entertaining. We talk about the current events in gaming and things like that. So um, I don't know. Is that a good answer?
I think so, and yeah, I love the how much content you guys are putting out as well. So if they want a show that comes out a lot, I think it's a good one as well. And it's not just quantity over quality. I'd say it's a little. I'd say it's both. I'd say it's a pretty quality show, in my opinion, at least.
Well, that's that's very kind. We do try to make sure that if you are listening, it's worth your time. You're going to hear good information or good sort of, I guess, opinions, things that are, from people that have been playing games for a while and kind of know the industry, I guess. So yeah, we hope that it's worth your time to tune in. And Board Games Daily is definitely, I guess, super up to date. We do at least 3 episodes a week, and we try to keep on top of things that are happening so we can kind of respond to things that are going on in the gaming world. And then, like I said, that's how I roll, is weekly. So again, I try to keep up on that. But there's a lot of personal stuff. I would say maybe that's another answer, is if you want to hear the crazy life and times of somebody who works in the freelance world and also plays board games, that would be a reason to listen to That's How I Roll.
There you go. Yeah, I strongly recommend it to anybody listening right now. And now Mina's coming there to stalk you there in Ohio, coming to your hometown. How would people go about keeping up with you or anything that Theology of Games has going on?
Yeah, try to avoid stalking. I appreciate that. And my wife maybe even more so. No, if you wanna find out what's going on with Theology of Games, go to theologyofgames.com. That's kind of the hub of everything. There's way too many tabs at the top of it, but all of our podcasts are listed there. Like I said, Theology of Games podcast. That's how I roll. Board Games Daily. You can hear those pretty much anywhere you listen to a podcast. Those are spread out all over the directories. And then, of course, social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Theology of Games. And we also have the Board Games Daily Twitter handle, so you can find us there as well. And we've got a great contact page on the site as well. So if you want to email us, you can call our hotline, all those things. You can get a hold of us by pretty much theologyofgames.com is like I said, the hub of all things TOG.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely go check it out. We'll leave all the links in the show notes if you give me the links, Jeremiah. And I want to say you guys do a lot of giveaways, or so it would seem from listening to your show for a while.
We try to, yeah. We had some great giveaways. We had a booth at Origins last year and did a lot of really fun giveaways there. We had our 12 Days of Christmas contest back in December, and there's a contest going on right now till the end of the month, so it's almost done. But actually, if you go to theologyofgames.com, there's a landing page that has a button that'll take you to that. It's really easy to enter. We're asking your goals for 2019, sort of what you're looking ahead to this year. And there's a hashtag you can use. That's How I Roll podcast. And that'll get you in and we're giving away Star Realms Frontiers and Hero Realms from White Wizard Games. So yeah, we like to give things away because it makes people happy.
Yeah, it seems to, as well as you have a Patreon, which has some cool rewards as well, I think.
Yeah, that's I totally forgot to mention that. Yeah, if you go to our website, there's a Patreon tab there. We've got a handful of different like promo cards and promo items from a lot of really cool publishers like Gamelin Games and Starling Games. We've got some really cool ceramic dice that Crit Hit Ceramics provided for us, stuff from Cosmos Games. So if you go to that, it's real easy to get in on our Patreon. It's like $1 a month. We'll get you in and get you some really cool stuff. And yeah, so check that out if you feel so inclined.
And plus, if you don't get enough of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, I believe we just barely were aired on, when you're listening to this, Monday, the 28th show of Board Games Daily, probably.
That's exactly right. So it's scheduled to release on that Monday. I'm not sure when this one's going to air, but yeah, check out episode, it'll be like 241 or 42 or something like that, with yours truly and my good friend Gamer Leaf on the show. So we'll talk about things that are going on with you. We bring in the game night cage fight, all that fun stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Awesome, for sure. Awesome. And we'll leave all the links in the show notes. But yeah, I don't want to keep you all day or night, Jeremiah, but I really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief so people can find out a little bit more about one of my favorite podcasts, or a group of podcasts, I guess, that are under the Theology of Games umbrella.
Well, I couldn't appreciate it more. I really appreciate all the things that you do for the industry and for the community of gamers out there. And thanks. I really appreciate your time. I know time is the best gift and the biggest treasure you can give someone. So you've given me a lot of it, and I really appreciate it.
No problem. You have a good one, Jeremiah.
All righty. You too.
Thank you, sir. Well, I really enjoyed sitting down with Jeremiah. Hopefully you enjoyed that little chat we had. Didn't catch enough of us talking? Well, you can go back and listen to Board Game Daily's podcast episode that they just released yesterday, in fact, in which I was on and I introduced a game night cage fight. We'll leave a link in the show notes so you can go listen to myself chatting with Jeremiah Isley again. And we throw out a little spoiler about something that we'll be doing here on the podcast really, really soon. So go find out that little teaser and see what we're going to be doing shortly by listening to Board Games Daily. You can catch it on Anchor FM, or just click on that link in the show notes and it'll show you how you can go listen. And also, we wanted to tell you about a new giveaway that the Giveaway Geek has recently launched. That's right, the new The Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. I believe it's a miniature game. It was on BGG's hotness list a little while back. Well, he's recently launched a giveaway that I helped him find sponsors to sponsor it. And a lot of these sponsors we've had on this show, if you believe that, or we're about to. First off, we've got Board Games. They brought us games like No Escape and the Battle Royale game that's out there for the board games. And also C-Star Games that currently has a game on Kickstarter that we're going to be sitting down to chat with shortly. And we're also telling you about it in our Kickstarter Corner. As well as Gameological Institute, which we just had on Tony this last episode back on Saturday, as well as one of my favorite podcasts, Board Gaming with Education, which used to be Board Gaming with English. So go jump over and check out our current giveaway. It's actually on our website as well under current giveaway, and you can enter with all of these cool things and check out some of the Kickstarters that are actually on our Kickstarter Corner. How neat is that? By doing so, you get entered into the Lord of the Rings Journeys in the Middle-earth game that's going on, a giveaway for that game from the Giveaway Geek. So definitely go ahead and jump over and check that out. A reminder to go listen to myself on Board Games Daily so you can find out what we'll be doing in the future. Anyways, our least favorite time, your least favorite time for us to get on with our lives, you to get on with yours. In the meantime, I hope you'll get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others in the geek fold. Anyways, Gamer Leaf out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.